seeing like everything, like all the crime scene stuff set up and the police everywhere was just, it was just unreal. I was just in utter shock.
I'm here to find out one thing. What kind of person are you? Because right now, we don't know. Is Magdy the type of guy that's a hard, cold, calculated murderer? Or are you the type of guy that made a mistake? You're one of those two people.
Not too long ago, I wrote him a letter and I basically implored him to try to save his soul and confess and repent. But I haven't heard back from him.
If I could say anything to him, I would just ask him to find it in his heart to please come forward. If he could just help me and my brother and my family to find closure. That's all we ask for him.
This one's a picture of all of us at the zoo. I remember these times. These were pretty good times. This picture kind of sums it up a little bit. I mean, my dad looks more serious, but my mom definitely loves hanging out with us.
It takes me back some good memories. But it's hard to look at pictures with my dad in it. I feel a sense of, like, anxiety. Even animals and things like that, like, look out for their offspring. I feel like my father, like, just did not care for anything. This guy was inhumane, and there's only one place in society for people like this, and this is in jail. And this is exactly where he's going to remain for the rest of his life. I used to go out to the park a lot by myself during like an early age, and I used to kind of play with just like the bigger kids and stuff that were there. One day I was playing basketball and someone like took my basketball. I went home.
Where are you going? Come here.
My dad was very, very verbal to us, so if we did something wrong, he would let us know right then and there.
You missing something? Where's that basketball?
Someone took it.
Someone stole that ball from you?
My dad was fuming mad.
You need to learn how to stand up for yourself. What's wrong with you?
He was really pissed. His response was like, you're a little punk. You're gonna let someone do that to you.
You do nothing!
Dad, I tried to get it back.
I think in a sense, the ball wasn't the issue. It was more just like my character. I was, like in his eyes, like not tough enough for him.
You have to listen to me. You have to stand up and be a man.
My dad's instructions were, no, we're getting your ball back. Come on. You were going to the court. You're going to fight this person, whoever took it.
Come on. Let's go.
Dad, please.
I just remember being like really fearful. He took me down to the park where I lost the basketball at and pretty much like started going off and wanted me to like fight everyone there. My dad was trying to teach me a lesson of standing up for yourself, but that was like a harsh lesson. It took me pretty much my whole childhood to learn that I could talk out my problems instead of resorting to violence.
My dad, when he would get upset, it would pretty much, he'd look calm, look cool, until everything just hit a switch. And then whatever it was, that pressure valve just breaks. And then he's just all reasoning is like out. My dad didn't really spend money on anybody. He was beyond frugal. He was just really cheap. So I didn't have like certain cool things that like other kids had. Like one of the kids in the class had this really cool Karate Kid headband. I stole it from him. And my dad found out, so he told me, go to your room. So I went to my room. I just remember looking out the window and I saw him going out there. I was like, what the hell? I was like, what's he doing? And then I realized, I was like, oh man, he's like looking for a branch from the rose bush. He found like a big branch that had a bunch of thorns on it. And then it's like dawning in my mind, like, oh shoot, I'm about to get whooped on with this thing. I was terrified. And then I just see him like start to come in the house. I'm like, oh shoot. And he just came in and just started wailing on me.
Dad, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
His eyes wouldn't be like normal eyes. It would be like it would just bug out like, how could you? And they would just boom, 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 and just start raging into it.
No son of mine is a thief.
You stole this? How could you do that?
Please stop, I won't do it again.
He would hit me until he ran out of steam or until I cried to the point where he would just, it would kind of cause him to like de-escalate a bit. He would just go to his room. We didn't really talk about it no more. The wild thing is I grew up with so much of that stuff that for the longest I didn't even think it was a big deal. But it was like the actual whooping of it wasn't even the worst part. It was just the fear of seeing him cutting the rose branch. My father loved money, and it was borderline to worshiping it. Money was more important to him than my mom, than me, than my little brother. I mean, sad to say, it even felt like it was more important to him than God. I remember one day, me and my little brother were in the bedroom, and I could hear my mom and dad, like, arguing.
I work hard for my money, Maggie. I should at least have a say in how we spend it.
Why? So you can be frivolous and spend it how you please?
There was a lot of fights in the house about finances. He would just take her paycheck and just literally just give her like small amounts, like $5, and that was it.
Maggie, our children should be wearing hand-me-down clothing.
They are looking for what they have and for you.
Next thing you know, it really escalated.
You disrespectful woman, you make me sick.
Get away from me, Maggie, please.
And then it sounded like I heard my mom start yelling for help, like she was in distress.
Stop, please. You're hurting me, Maggie.
Listen to me.
It sounded like my mom was yelling for help and my dad was trying to cover her mouth.
Richard! Richard!
I was just kind of there with Ryan, you know, and I think Ryan was really young, so he was really scared.
And all we could hear is like screaming, yelling.
You want me to stop?
I remember my mom saying like, call 911.
I was like too scared to even step out of the room, so I was just at the doorway just listening like to what was going on. And I was just like, I didn't know what to do.
Get away from me, Maggie, please.
She was like yelling, help, help, call 911.
Call the police.
I was like just really scared and frozen. I wish I could have just picked up the phone and called 911, but I was really like scared of my dad. I couldn't even envision what he would have done if he saw me on the phone with 911. He literally might have just like put me in a hospital or worse.
Make me sick.
And then it was like just pitch silent. And then I remember my mom just come into the room. She was like really subdued, and she was just really sad. She was like, why didn't you call like for the police?
Richard, didn't you hear me calling you?
I'm sorry.
I was like, I'm sorry, I was just really scared. And then I think she kind of realized too that I was just like too scared to do anything.
It's okay. It's not your fault.
When I look back on that incident, I think my mom hit the point where she was just fed up with everything, with dealing with my dad and the way that he was treating her. And she was pretty much ready to leave.
Everything is fine. Don't worry about it.
But then in Egypt, divorce is like taboo. Like it just is something completely frowned upon. So between the cultural and religious pulls, I think it was like really hard on my mom. She couldn't really just up and leave and just go.
I was working and I remember my mom calling me that she wasn't gonna be able to pick me up that night. And she was always the one to pick me up from work. I kind of had like a gut feeling that things were just like out of the ordinary.
Mom, where you at?
When I got back to the house, this was the first time I actually like saw my mom like battered by my dad.
You okay? What happened?
Ask your father.
My dad had hit my mom with like a closed fist and hit her eye, and you could already tell that there was like a lot of swelling.
You okay?
Yeah.
He fractured her eye socket. It was definitely one of the most traumatic times of my life.
Oh my God.
Richard must have walked in the door within like minutes after that I came in.
Mom, what happened to you?
I got home and I remember going in and my brother was down there and my mom was sitting in the kitchen.
Mom, this is really bad.
Are you okay?
Her nose was bleeding and she was like trying to like still stop the blood. You know, I was really concerned. I was like, what happened?
Did Dad do this to you?
He lost his temper.
You know, she told me that they had got in an argument and then that he punched her in the face. I was pretty upset. And it really concerned me because her nose was still bleeding. This was like at least an hour or so out from the incident and it was still bleeding. So I immediately thought to myself, like, I have to take her to the hospital.
Come on, let's go.
It set a whole cascade of events because the nurse at the hospital was obligated to call the police and let them know about the domestic violence. I don't think my mom realized that her telling him at the hospital would lead to him being arrested. When me and my mom got home, the cops were there.
What's going on?
Your husband is under arrest, ma'am.
They went upstairs and they pretty much put him in handcuffs and brought him down.
This is a big mistake. This is not right.
And I remember he was still in his pajamas and barefoot. He was like, well, can I put my slippers on? And they're like, nope.
Why don't you at least let me get dressed?
Not gonna happen, sir.
I felt really scared because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know that the police were gonna come and take him away. I've never seen a look in his face like that before. He was just so pissed off.
As he walked by, I just remember him looking at me and telling me that this is all because of you.
This is your fault.
And then the cops just took him right out. They were charging him with domestic violence. The restraining order was just automatically kicked in. My dad wasn't allowed anywhere near her or the house. That was a very scary point because I just knew that our lives would never be the same.
My mom was considering a divorce. She kept on swaying back and forth because she loved my dad. And he was really manipulative. He tried to spend time with me and Richard. He tried several times to like just reach out to us and tell us that he loved us.
It seemed like he wasn't bent on revenge at the time, but he was more trying to just get everything back together and kind of make peace with everything. That it put me at ease a bit. One day, during the time that the domestic violence case was moving forward, the police came over to the house. They had an anonymous letter.
We thought you should take a look at this.
The letter said something along the lines of, I'm a concerned neighbor, and I just wanted to inform you guys that Magdi has been trying to, find somebody to kill his wife. They wanted to stay anonymous and just let him know that this was something that my dad was thinking about.
We don't know who it's from. There's no name on the envelope and there's no return address.
So the police were asking, do you know who might have wrote it? And, I didn't really have a clue.
Do you recognize the handwriting? Does it look familiar to you?
I knew he was capable of harsh things and even borderline heinous things, but not murder.
This doesn't sound like my dad. I wonder if it's some sort of hoax.
I told him, I was like, I don't think he's stupid enough to do something like that. He seems to be okay right now, at least when I talk to him.
Things have just been blown out of proportion, really. This doesn't sound like Magdi.
All right. Well, we're going to keep tabs on you guys.
A part of me was just seeing what I wanted to see, which was that they would work things out and that he wasn't such a horrible person. I wish I would have taken that letter more serious, but I didn't. And it's like, I totally misread him.
I hear a door open. And that's when someone comes onto my bed and then they grab my mouth.
No!
Remember the power getting cut off? It was one of those things that we didn't see it coming. There was light in the house and then it literally just went straight dark.
What's going on?
My mom, she got really paranoid and she was like, oh my God, why aren't the lights turning on?
Ryan, I don't like this.
Her kind of pacing back and forth and stuff, oh my gosh, trying to test light switches and stuff like that.
Why aren't they working?
I don't know. It's not a blackout. Everyone else seems to have light.
How is this possible?
My father loved money, and he's so cheap. I just thought he stopped paying the bill.
Don't worry. Dad probably forgot to pay the bills.
It's just not a shock to me that he would cut the power out on even us as his kids.
I'll figure it out. I have an idea.
I knew my dad had a bunch of paperwork and shoeboxes underneath the bed. But as I was going through the paperwork, I found out a lot of bank statements for various accounts that my mom had no clue about. At first, I was just seeing the accounts that were smaller, they had a couple thousand, a few thousand. But then I hit one, it was some platinum savings CD. And when I looked at the total of that, I was like, whoa, there's 100,000 in this.
Mom, come here.
What is it?
And there were multiple accounts that we found. I started piecing together that, there's quite a bit of money that's there.
Look at this.
I don't understand. What is this?
We're not talking about just a few thousand here and there, but we're talking about hundreds of thousands. I was pretty shocked.
Believe this. Why would he keep this from me?
Half of that should be yours.
there's a ton of money here. It's like, you know, if you got a divorce, this is half is yours. I don't think she even realized that that was how it worked.
He was trying to steal from us.
She was in the dark on everything. Finding all those statements and all that stuff kind of made her even more upset.
I cannot believe he did this to me.
That really set my mom in motion too, where she was like, enough's enough. She was just done. He started, to me, seemed to start mellowing out a bit. When I graduated nursing school, I saw my dad, he came by, and I was like, man, it seems kind of weird, doesn't it? Like, Dad seems like extra chill, like, man, he's not normally like that. That was really nice. That was really nice. It was kind of how I was hoping that their divorce would be, just amicable, like around each other. I could have a relationship with him and a relationship with her, like normal people when they divorce. I had thought that he had just come to terms with everything and just kind of like, you know, found peace or something with it. But looking back on it, maybe that was when he kind of like made his mind up, like, that's it.
The whole night, everything repeats in my head a lot. I don't like to talk about it too much just because it was so traumatic to me. I came home late that night, made my way upstairs, fell asleep in my bed. Everything was like normal, and that's when I hear like a door open. I'm thinking in my head like, oh, it's probably Richard just to check in on me or whatever. That's when someone comes onto my bed and then they grab my mouth. A bit down on the hand. And then from there, I quickly realized that this person was much bigger than me.
Who are you? Help! Shut up! I'm gonna kill you! Help! No! Shut up!
And that's when a second person comes into the room.
No! 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 Stop! No!
My mouth was getting duct taped. My hands were getting duct taped behind my back. And then also my feet were getting duct taped. I was pleading, like, please don't kill me, please don't kill me. And then that's when I see my mom, like, coming down the hall. She is yelling, like, frantically, like, take anything that you want. And that's when the second guy, like, grabs my mom and takes her towards, like, her room.
Just don't hurt him, please! Please! Please!
The first suspect, like, grabbed me and then, like, put me into the closet. I didn't hear anything else after. I felt helpless. I was like just survival mode. I was trying to like get my hands to like break free. I got the tape off my mouth, started like unbounding my feet, grabbed my phone, and I ran straight down the hall. And I remember looking to the right, like a quick like glance like towards like my mom's door. It wasn't open, so I didn't want to see who was going to be on the other side because I didn't know if they were still in my house. So I just ran straight out of the house.
Now, an emergency?
Someone just robbed our house. They broke in. They tied me and my mama.
Is everybody okay?
I don't know. They just beat me up. So I don't know where my mom is. They're like, don't make me have to kill you. I will kill you. Don't get your mom killed.
She's telling me to go back to the house, and I'm telling her I'm not going to go back. I was scared that people were still in my house.
You have no idea who this is, right?
No, it was two black guys.
I called Richard and I let him know, and immediately he was just like, "Oh my God, I'm rushing in there right now." And I also phoned my dad too.
I've never heard my little brother sound like as scared or as terrified as he did when he called me up on the phone. I tried getting back to the house as fast as possible. And I was like, where the hell's mom? Like, you know, I was like really thinking like, where the hell is she? You know, like what the heck's going on? I was really nervous if he found out that I was like doing a wiretap against him. Oh my gosh, that would have been horrible. He might have killed me. The cops came and they told me like, we're gonna need to take you to the station and we gotta ask you some questions. And then they just started asking like a bunch of questions, like, where were you?
I went to my girlfriend's after work. Then my brother called me.
And your girlfriend, does she live near your mother's house?
I totally felt like a suspect. It was super scary.
Why does it matter?
Because we're running an investigation.
I just remember hitting a point where I was like, all right, I'm not answering any more questions till you guys tell me what's going on. Where's my mom at? I remember one of the detectives, like, he was just really blunt with me. He was like, you know, she's dead.
She was murdered.
They basically stabbed her to death. It just hit me so hard. And I was just in just utter shock. Up to that point, I thought it was just a robbery. I thought they just broke in to steal some stuff. I couldn't believe that my mom was murdered.
No, please.
And my... Sorry, man. It's like bringing a lot of old emotions.
I heard Richard just scream like to the top of his lungs.
Please, no.
And I didn't know Richard was like in like a room next to me or anything. I just heard him like scream out of the blue. That's when they told me that my mom, she had passed away. It was just like in complete shock. Just felt like a sense of like emptiness, like right away. Just didn't make sense. This is my mother, Harriet Gregius. I like seeing pictures of my mom. It definitely brings a lot of memories back into life. She's very beautiful in the picture. The holidays were really big around my mom, like preparing for Christmas and cooking meals and things like that.
Looks like it was actually before she got married. It's like she was like younger and really vibrant. She was just an amazing person, like very soft-hearted, very sweet. I don't know what kind of evil person or people could do that kind of stuff. I was told that the police had to go there and actually get him from work and bring him in to question him. He still went to work. He didn't even like take the day off or anything. He just went to work. And he had known about it because my little brother had called him up. Even if they were going through a divorce and whatnot, I mean, my goodness, you still check on the person and, you know, is mom okay? Are you okay? Like, I mean, what is that?
This is impossible. I'm sorry, sir.
I started getting suspicious of my dad.
You know, I called him. Right after I called you.
I phoned him after calling 911. My dad picked up the phone at about 4 o'clock in the morning, off of about the first ring.
And he picked up just like that.
his phone was all the way in the living room. So that means that he had to have got out of bed and walked down the hall and go to the living room to pick up. If he wasn't already up, then I don't know how he picked up so fast. It was almost like he was like waiting for a phone call. So I was very suspicious about him.
It's happening, you don't understand.
He was crying, but to me it just looked like, it just felt fake. I just felt no like real emotional connection with him. I just couldn't stop thinking that he had something to do with it. We went back several times to talk to the police and express to them how I was like really starting to think that my dad had something to do with it. And they expressed to me too that, you know, we think that he might too, but we don't have the evidence. So the cops basically like brought up the idea like of wearing a wire. To like, you know, talk with my dad and see if there's any information or anything that I could find out. I met up with my dad. I was really nervous if he found out that I was like doing a wiretap against him. Oh my gosh, that would have been horrible. He might have killed me.
How's it going with you and your brother?
I was walking a real tightrope because I didn't want him to be suspicious that I thought he had murdered Mom.
I was just thinking about it. Everybody loved Mom. It doesn't make sense. Why her?
I was trying to kind of be more like, I can't believe this happened, and who do you think would do something like this?
It was probably all just random.
He wasn't really telling me like much of anything.
Look, it's best if we just put this behind us.
He spent a lot of time talking about like, oh, you need to just move on. And he talked about like the house needs to be like maintained. The yard still needs to be done. And I mean, Mom's literally just been murdered. Who gives about the house? We decided that it was best to move up north. We have family from my mom's side up north that was able to take us in and at least give us some time to like get back on our feet.
We cut off contact with our father pretty much right after moving. We didn't want him to know where we moved. We kept in contact with the police very often. What's going on? And then we later on found out that it was like turning into like a cold case.
These two gang members approaching Dad, trying to get money out of him for something.
On 5 what? 5,000. I thought you got paid everything. 1,500 I have on me.
It turns out that was actually part of the undercover police sting. As time went on, I started being like really frustrated. My dad's just out there like going about his life, and nobody's been brought to justice for what they did to my mom. I was feeling at that time like this thing's not gonna get solved. I don't want them to stop investigating this. So I started writing letters to like different like news agencies and stuff. We wrote to the governor's office. I wrote to all the different Congress people. I think we gathered like over 1,000 letters. And friends of friends, people that didn't even know us were like you know, we're trying to help and compassionate and stuff about it. I think I'm gonna need a little time out, if it's okay.
It just was really tough on our family because we felt like we had a clear suspect, but we weren't getting any answers. But one day I received a phone call from my dad's girlfriend. She had left me a voicemail and she was just going frantic. Some gang members had shown up to the house. She was referencing that they're like the people that like came and broke into her house, and then it just made my heart race. I literally dropped what I was doing and I phoned the police right away.
Hello, I need to speak to whoever's working the Harriet Gerges case.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, we have like a break in the case. They're like, okay, we'll look into it, Ryan. I promise we'll look into it.
Call me back if you hear anything.
I learned later that that was a sting operation, that 2 cops were posed as gang members.
Check it out, man. About him killing a wife. We're not gonna fix it. You know what I mean? We want 5 rent, 5,000. You know what I'm saying?
They were just pretty much trying to get like some hush money.
Give me a call, man. It's my company. Give me a call tomorrow about 5,000. Give me up tomorrow.
My dad takes their phone number. Next day, he calls them up and arranges a meeting in person.
I thought we got paid everything. 1,500 I have on me.
My dad agrees to make the payment. He doesn't deny anything in the video. When you see that video right there, it clearly shows you that he's guilty. It really hurts me whenever I see that footage because I always feel like this caught him like red-handed, but he still tends to deny things. And it's really heartbreaking to see.
I said we got paid everything. 1,500 I have on me.
I mean, that's just a showing of how cheap my dad is. He's still trying to like, I don't have that much money, and how like trying to negotiate it down as cheap as possible. It falls right in step with the kind of person he is. That line, I paid you already for everything, really set in stone that like this guy like had my mom killed.
Yeah, this is exactly how I last saw my dad. This must have been the day that he got arrested. I have no sympathy for this guy right here. This guy's not my dad right here. This guy right here is a liar. This guy right here is a criminal.
This mugshot's like just sad. I don't even know what to say about this picture. This is just... I feel like this is a picture of what happens when you get caught up in just pure greed and evil. It's like, man, why'd you do it? It's like, you know, you had so much going in your life.
He was the person who broke in that night and tied me up. They were able to track him down with the DNA evidence. They ran it through and it had a hit in the system since he was already incarcerated for another crime. It's hard for me to fathom the thought that my dad knows exactly who was responsible for the murder and won't give him up.
Not too long ago, I wrote him a letter and I basically implored him to just confess. He's in jail, he's convicted, but at least he could try to save his soul and confess and repent. But I haven't heard back from him. My mom's murder case is still open. I pray every day that we still catch the Slayer. But I mean, I'm happy that we at least got some justice. At least we caught one person and we caught our dad. And regardless of what happens here, justice is going to be served, whether here on Earth or afterwards. There's justice is going to be served one way or another.
The reason I want to talk about it now is because he's gone. He's dead. It's my way of paying him back. I need a minute. I agreed to do this because everybody's so convinced that he was just an unnatural human being, that he was evil, that he was bad, and he wasn't to me. He wasn't that to me at all.
He's never hurt anybody. For God's sakes, this is nothing. I mean, I don't know what they're trying to do to him. He's never hurt anybody.
It's much, much easier for me to speak with strangers because they don't judge you or say, why did you stay? Why didn't, you know? I just let myself down. I didn't. I just wasted my life. And I wasted my whole life because I didn't want to listen to it. I didn't want to hear the truth. And I had been tricked. He was big and he was strong and he was bald and he was muscular. And his arms were as big around as my waist. He was just so strong and so powerful, and he had beautiful radiant eyes. His legal name was Alvin. There were a lot of people who called him Al, but I always called him Bud. Bud was everything this woman could have ever wanted. It was pretty ideal for me. I was working as an in-home service.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. Got your paper, got your coffee?
He was living with his grandparents, and he was having a hard time working, caring for them.
Hi.
Hi.
Wow. This looks great.
Thank you.
His grandfather had Alzheimer's, and I was just going to help him around the house, prepare meals, and our eyes met, and I just got swooped right up.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. You are amazing. You know that?
Thanks.
We dated a little. We decided that we enjoyed one another and that we might just go ahead and get married.
Have a great day. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I just wanted to be a good wife. That's all that kept going through my head. I just needed to be a good, faithful, loyal wife. It was a very typical day at his grandparents' home before we were married. I heard the door and Bud's brother approached me.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I realized quickly that he wasn't there to visit.
Look, I gotta tell you something. It's about Bud.
What are you talking about?
He told me I shouldn't marry Bud because Bud wasn't the person I thought he was. You should not be here. You should not do this. Bud is not a decent human being.
Why would you say that? What is this really about? Did he do something to you?
Not exactly.
He had no proof. He just kind of said, you know, there's a lot of things you don't know. Because he approached me in that manner, I had all my defenses up, and I said, I'm not listening to one word you say.
Look, he's a good man. I think you need to leave before Bud comes home.
I was in love. Everything was great. He was good to his grandparents, and that was a big thing with me at the time.
Take care of yourself, Jackie.
I didn't want to hear it. I was confused, and I talked to Bud when he got home from work.
Your brother came by today.
Oh, yeah? What did he want?
He warned me not to marry you.
His exact words were, he just doesn't want me living here with Grandma and Grandpa. Bud's grandparents' property apparently was always in some kind of questionable situation.
Ever since I moved in here to take care of our grandparents, he's been on my case.
As long as I stayed there and I was taking care of the grandparents, they couldn't ship them off to a nursing home and then do what they wanted to do with the property, with the money.
If he had his way, they'd be out of the picture and he'd have their money. He doesn't care what happens to them.
There was a lot of hate, a lot of resentment. Bud said that it was just family rivalry.
I could never protect them from my family's greed without your help. Thank you for that.
And Bud and I just simply locked arms and moved on. My wedding was wonderful. I was filled with joy and love, and it was really, really a wonderful, wonderful day. The fact that his family wasn't at the wedding, I felt sad that they didn't want to share that happiness with him. But, you know, I never saw any of his family after we were married. I never saw any of them or talked to any of them. And if I would have gone into the situation with a little bit more why, instead of okie dokie, I would have gotten a better picture of what was really going on. But I didn't. After we were married, I moved into the home with everybody. When Bud would come home from work, I was ecstatic. I would want to meet him at the door and take his lunch pail and how did your day go? But one night I was expecting Bud to come home. The later it got, I thought, well, maybe he's held up at work. I tried to read a book, which I couldn't concentrate on what I was reading, and it got later and later and later and later. I just sat out in the living room and kept watching for the lights, wondering if he's gonna come around the corner, if he'll be just driving in any minute. I was so frightened and so afraid that something had happened to him. He was gone the whole evening. It was fairly early in the morning when he came in.
Hey, where have you been? I've been up all night.
I'm sorry, I was out. I was out with the boys.
He told me he was just out with some friends and he drank a little bit too much, so he just stayed at his friend's place.
I forgot to call. I should have called. I know.
I've been worried sick.
I ate it right up. I was just so relieved that he was okay.
I didn't want to drive after drinking.
Okay, that was smart. I'm just glad you're home.
I was like, well, then it's better that you didn't drive if you had been drinking too much. It's resolved. There's no problem. It's not a big deal. The first time when this happened with Bud, it was at dinner,
It's beautiful outside today, wouldn't you agree?
His physical body was there, but he wasn't there. But he wasn't hearing me.
I took your grandparents to the park today. It was beautiful.
He just was stone cold quiet.
Bud.
What?
Have you heard anything I've said?
Yeah.
I think I can describe this look in Bud's eye best by when you talk to people and they don't hear you, you can see in their eyes that they're not there. It would happen like once or twice a month. And when that would happen, I could tell that the next night he wasn't coming home. Bud would leave. It would be for something. I'm gonna go get dog food. I'm gonna go get cigarettes. And 9 times out of 10, he just wouldn't come back. But it never crossed my mind that Bud could be having an affair. He was just being a boy. He was just out with his buddies. I didn't have any problem with that at all. I justified everything. I found this piece of paper. It was a sheet of paper from the courts. It had all this prison stuff on it. And that Alvin Brown had been sentenced to prison for rape. I found this piece of paper. It was a sheet of paper from the courts. Alvin Brown had been sentenced to prison for rape. They originally convicted him for 6 years, but he got out in 4 years because of good behavior. It was like I was pushed off the cliff. And I left that paper on the kitchen table.
What's this?
Why don't you tell me?
When Bud came home, he's like, "Where did you find this?" And I said, "In the bottom of the closet."
Did this really happen? Were you arrested for rape?
Yes.
And he's like, "Well, honey, I got convicted of this, but I didn't do it. It was all circumstantial evidence. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It didn't happen." I thought that I really didn't know who he was. And I even said that. "Is this what your brother was trying to tell me?" And he said, "Probably."
Did you do it? Did you rape that girl?
No. And I know this looks bad, but you've got to believe me, they got the wrong guy.
I never had any reason to doubt anything that Bud told me.
Okay, then.
And even if Bud had done this crime, he was punished by society in the appropriate manner, and he went to prison. He did everything he was supposed to do. What happened in his life before I met him should have no effect on how I feel and what I do today. And that's how I justified that. It never came up again. Eventually, Bud's grandparents were removed from the home and placed in a nursing home. I would make trips to the nursing home on a regular basis to make sure that they were getting outstanding care. Bud began not coming home 2 times a month, 3 times a month. One day, I was going shopping or doing something, and I went and got in the truck. And as I looked down, I noticed that there was a pin. It was a fascinating piece of custom-made jewelry. I looked at the pin, front and back, and I was somewhat confused. It wasn't my pin. And so the end of the day came around.
This was delicious, hon.
And after dinner, I kind of put it down, slid it on the table.
Who does this belong to?
And he was quick.
It's my buddy's little girl. I gave her a ride home the other day. Must have fallen off in the truck.
And I thought for a couple minutes. I looked at the pen. It wasn't a little girl's pen. It was an adult woman's pen. But I think what it was is his response time was phenomenal.
You know I'm going to see him tomorrow? I'll give it back to him then.
He didn't even have to think about it, and it was there. Nobody ever said another word about it. And I never found anything else. As I think back now, I'm just like, oh my gosh, how could you have been that gullible? That you something didn't click in your head to say to you, get a hold of it, girl. Something isn't right here. Something's not matching up. One day, he had come home from work.
Hi, honey. Welcome home.
Hi.
How was work?
It was okay.
And I noticed a fragrance in the air. It was a female smell.
What is that smell?
He said, well, why would you say that? And I said, because I smell something on your clothes that smells like a woman. And the pen is still like wandering in the back of my mind.
Oh, there's this new girl at the office. She must bathe in this stuff. I'm sure the whole office smells that way.
My way of coping with things was pretty much not dealing with them. If a second thing would have happened after that, that was a clincher.
I'll take a shower.
But after that occasion, nothing like that ever happened again. And so again, I let it go. I let it all go. Because when we got in front of a minister, in part of the wedding statement, it said, I won't ever leave you until death, and then we'll meet again. I had a lifetime of a commitment, not 6 months, 6 years, but a lifetime. We were in bed. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning or something. Bud and I were sound asleep.
What was that?
There was this pounding and beating on the door.
Stay here. I'll go check it out.
And so, of course, Bud got up, went to the door, and answered, and the police just come storming in. To be awoke in the middle of the night by something that startling was almost heart-stopping. I was so startled. I remember myself just constantly saying, "What's going on? What's going on?"
What's happening? What's going on?
They arrested him, they put him in cuffs, and then I got that look from Bud. All he said to me was, "Come down to the jail and pick me up." And then they took him.
Come pick me up tomorrow morning.
But they didn't keep him. I drove down in front of the jail. He came out, got in the car, and I took him home.
Thanks for picking me up.
Explain this, Bud.
In the car, I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "They're trying to get me for stealing."
You don't know the whole story.
What is the whole story?
They like me for this robbery case.
And I'm like, "Okay, did you do it?" And he says, "Well, no. This is all a setup because of my old crimes, that they're trying to get me for something that somebody else did."
They let me go. I didn't do it.
Let's go home. I was just so overwhelmed. I was like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. We're going to continue with our day like nothing happened. But that's when the emotional separation started. From that day on, it changed me more than it changed anything. After this police invasion, I found myself constantly looking out the window, opening the door, checking the garage. And I saw the police often. They wouldn't have their searchlights on. They would just be driving by very slowly. I became paranoid about undercover agents, about secrets.
Hey, Bud?
Are they going to come beat on the door? Are they going to take Bud again? Or like, what's going to happen?
That's the second time I've seen a cop car drive by today.
And I found myself questioning him a lot more after that. Like, what's going on? And he would just say, well, it's their usual neighborhood watch stuff.
It's probably nothing. It's all in your head.
You're probably right.
And I always dismissed it as they were always there, but I had never realized it before. I'd never connected it as him being bad. He could never be anything other than what he is to me, because I knew him, I thought. I would crawl into bed with him at night, and he slept sound. Real sound. I've always thought in my mind, if any person is out doing anything that's not right, that they can't possibly sleep sound at night. Because Heavenly Father's not gonna let you sleep, because that guilt is gonna just get you, and it gets you most at night when you're sleeping, when all your guard is down. I honestly feel that assured me that he wasn't doing really anything wrong. He was just out with the boys. And he wasn't possibly doing anything that was going to affect me in any way or hurt me. I made really solid excuses. I just could not process it. I couldn't get it out of my head. I didn't want to listen to it. I didn't want to hear the truth because I knew the right thing of what I had to do, and I didn't want to do it. This was Christmas at my mom's in Idaho. Bud and I decided to go to my folks' for Christmas. I looked so forward to this trip and visiting with my family. It was the first trip we had taken, so everybody could just get to know each other a little bit better. And he had a great time visiting and eating, you know, with my family. We played lots of games. One time we even tried to sing.
Where's the eggnog? When's this? You got to do presents? You ready?
Yes.
You ready? All right.
And he showed me lots of laughter, and he had a great time visiting and eating, you know, with my family.
Oh, honey.
And out of the clear blue, he just said, we're going home.
Jackie.
Yeah.
We have to go.
We weren't going to stay the length of our visit that we had planned. I mean, it was a great trip. We had a great visit. Everything was going ideal. And he said, well, something has come up and I have to get back and take care of it.
We have to go now.
But we just got here.
He never explained. I was very puzzled, but I wasn't going to argue. That wasn't what we were made of.
Okay. I'll just tell my family that you have a work emergency.
So I made the appropriate excuses.
Say your goodbyes. I'll pack the car.
Okay. Hi, so we have to go.
And so we did. We loaded up and went home.
Yeah.
As soon as we got home, we unloaded the car, and he says, I'll be back in a few hours. I'm like, okay. I didn't question him, and we were still so in love. I was still blinded by things. I felt like that if I was more vigilant, I could then maybe find something or notice something. And there was a time the phone rang.
Hello?
And there was nothing. I'm like, hello? Nothing, so I hung up. The second call came moments later.
Hello?
Nothing.
Look, this isn't funny. Please don't call here again.
And then I said something to Bud about these calls.
Who was that?
Someone keeps calling, but they won't say anything.
And he's like, oh, well, I'll get the next call then if they happen to call back. It wasn't long after that.
Hello.
Bud picked up the phone. He's like, hello? He didn't say anything else.
Wrong number.
Then that clicked. That somebody was calling that wanted to talk to him, not to me.
I got a lot to do today. I gotta go.
And then soon after that, he left. He had something else going on that I wasn't involved in. was down in the basement, tidying, fluffing, doing what I do. I picked up the cushions on the couch. I saw a syringe. And I thought, oh my gosh, he was doing drugs. It kind of all fell into place. All of the things that he was doing. The distant look in his eyes, secrets, whatever it is that he had to go do away from the home, I thought it just had something to do with drugs. When Bud got home from work, I said, hey, look what I found.
Drugs? Drugs, that's what you're doing now?
What are you talking about?
I found this in the basement.
I said, what is this from? And he said, oh, it was from a long, long time ago.
I admit I used to fool around with stuff like that, but I haven't in years.
I said, no, I don't think that's possible because there's still a bit of liquid in the bottom of it.
Stop lying to me.
I thought, this is it. This is the end. I hit him with the whole ultimatum.
You need help. You need to check yourself into a drug clinic, or I'm going to leave you.
And I remember him just standing there and looking at me. And I just looked at him and said, get out of this house because I am done. He was crushed. And I left. I was trying to make a point with him. I went to Washington. My folks had a cabin up in the Blues. I just stayed there for a few weeks and tried to get my P's and Q's together. But never at any point did Bud say, drugs are my problem. I wanted to make sure he was okay.
Who is this?
Hello, Bud?
This man picked it up and he said, who is this? And of course, me being me, I'm like, yeah, no, wait a second. Who is this? Who are you? And what are you doing answering this phone?
Where's Bud? I want to talk with him now.
He says, well, you're not talking to him because this is the Portland Police Department and he's going with us. What was the police department doing at the house?
Where is he? Let me talk to him.
I thought, did he get busted for drugs? That has to be it. My panic button went off. And off to Portland I went. I drove straight through, didn't stop. I got to the house and I opened the door. There was a number of policemen. The whole house was filled with these black lights, and I was kind of freaked out because I didn't know what was going on. And then this big, huge cop came out.
What is this? What is happening?
Ma'am, I need you to step outside.
I said, this is my house. My name's on the lease.
Ma'am, this is an active crime scene. I need you to leave. Please back up.
My husband, where is he?
And I'm like, where is Bud? Where is Bud? And they're like, he's in jail. And at that point, I realized this is not good.
"35-year-old Alvin Brown was arraigned today on robbery and theft charges. Brown allegedly picked up a woman, drove her to I-5 and Southwest 22nd, took her purse and forced her from the car. Brown is also a suspect in an alleged rape case at the same location.
He was arrested for throwing this woman off of a bridge, but she didn't die. It actually wasn't too long after we had separated. I saw him in jail. Bud said, I didn't do this. I didn't hurt this woman.
But there's more. 10 years ago, Brown was convicted of raping a 15-year-old girl in Southwest Portland. A month later, 4 women were killed within 30 days of each other. 17-year-old Kimberly Stevens, 17-year-old Melania Christ, 31-year-old Noreen Davis, and 57-year-old Sheila Burnett. Detectives working the cases believe Brown is their killer.
I kept the televisions off. I didn't even listen to the radio because I didn't want to hear. It was all this negative stuff. I wasn't going to listen to any of that crap. Nothing. Because if this had happened, murdering people and burying bodies and horrific crimes, it happened before we were married. My life during that time was very, very difficult. I was in the garage, and this man came up. He had this microphone, and he said, we want to know what you think. And I was shaking so bad, and I was trying to talk, and I just lost it.
He's never hurt anybody. For God's sakes, this is nothing. I mean, I don't know what they're trying to do to him. He has a record from his past. He's never hurt anybody. I just don't know why they won't let us try to live our lives. And because he's an ex-convict, they call him Slime.
Oh, I'm just trembling. How odd. I began trembling. I heard myself say there, why can't they just let us live our lives? He was never horribly evil to me. That was why I stood up for him and I in a relationship, because I knew how he was to me. I actually couldn't live under that kind of scrutiny, so I moved. I left. I couldn't stay there. But some family members were like, well, didn't you know? I'm like, know what? Suspect what? There was nothing. Bud was never aggressive with me. He never yelled at me. It wasn't who he was. That's the blank, empty stare that I spoke of. That's the stare. I never saw this picture before. Today. It's just sad. It's just so sad. He had so much to give, and he just cut his life so short. He just gave up. I was always his wife as long as he was alive. I was never let out of my bond until he died. My commitment to him just was always there. In God's eyes until death. I don't want to think about it. I'm going to get up and put my shoes and socks on the same as everybody else. That whole experience with Bud, for me to put it into a process where I can live with it, I have to keep it a certain way in my head. And I keep happy pictures of him and I. I keep happy things of us. When he was there, he was a good man to me. He was a good man to me. He was a good man to me. He was a good man to me.